So you have this job where you have a show, you interview the most famous and important and powerful people in the world all the time. Presumably a lot of that is actually getting them to come in and talk to you. They have to trust you that you're not going to humiliate them or come after them. On the other hand, you got to ask tough questions, and so you can't just be tossing softballs. So how do you manage that? You had Tim Geithner on recently. I was watching Twitter after the interview. A lot of people said, "Oh, she did great, lots of good questions." Other people said, "Oh, she just didn't ask the hard questions." So how do you manage that?
Well, I think that I think people know who I am in terms of my interviewing. I ask the questions that people want asked, I believe. I would take issue with that person tweeted about because I believe that I do ask the questions that people want answered, but I'm not doing it in a gotcha kind of way. So maybe that's what he was expecting, but I'm not a gotcha kind of reporter. I'm not going to slam 10 questions at you at once really quickly and try and trip you up because I want you to trip up. But I am going to say, look, Secretary Geithner, here are the issues. People are worried that the Treasury is not backing Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac paper. Tell me the difference in terms of holding that kind of paper versus government bonds. Or tell me, why you would be raising taxes in an environment where we're still in a fragile economy. I mean, I did ask all of those questions, and I ask the questions that people want answered all the time. But I am not going to do it in a way that I'm an ill-wisher, because I'm not an ill-wisher.
And you're dealing with folks who have incredible PR resources behind them. Corporations are extraordinary at managing the message with the bullet points, and all the interviews are worked out in advance. Oh yes, you can have him if you agree not to go here and things like that. How do you break through that and actually have people make news and say interesting things, which they don't if you don't break through it?
The bottom line is I tell the person, look, I would like this interview to be great. I know you want this interview to be great, and I would like you to be able to come back. You won't come back if you think that this interview is not going to matter. You won't come back, and I won't want you to come back if you don't answer the questions and nobody believes it and there's no credibility here. So put that aside right now. Let's get that on the table. Number two is I recognize as a reporter that everybody has an agenda. I have an agenda. My agenda is to get the best interview, break news, have it first, make sure that I have the top interview and the best content that we can have. The other person at the other side of the table has an agenda. They want to get their message out. I get that, and I understand that. But I am not going to do it to the detriment of the viewer. If a person is not answering the question, I will definitely ask you again. I will ask you a third time. It will be clear to the viewer that I'm asking the questions and that it's you who's evading them. I don't think a person wants to put themselves in that situation.